We are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday Bills. Look at that. The chat's already blowing up. Hey, Steven.
We're late.
Dave and Lori. Mike's Mods and Custom. Mike's made it early this time. He's on time this week.
Right?
Good for him.
Oh, I just got a notification that I'm live. I better turn that down.
Listen, anytime you get something that says you're alive, it's good.
Yes. Yeah, because there are some days I doubt it.
That's definitely not a bad thing.
The show would not be entertaining with a dead modeler.
True. Very true. Of course, we probably would just
pick on it hasn't happened.
Right. Yeah. Especially with Frank here, we probably would just pick on him. But
listen, Weekend at Bernie's did pretty good. 3 people.
It did. Well, welcome, chat. As you know, we've got our 3 normal hosts on, myself, Jason, and Tim. We have a special guest this week, Mr. Frank from Frank's Model Work. How we doing, Frank?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Living the dream, right? Living the dream. Justin's out again this week. We hope to have Justin back next week. He's got some personal stuff going on, so we're looking forward to getting him back maybe next week. And if not, whenever he gets back, we'll be glad to have him. But in the meantime, we've got Frank in, going to hold down the base for him. And I think Frank's got some cool stuff to talk about today. But first of all, let's start off with the usual. What's everybody working on?
Who wants to start?
Jason does.
Man, you and BG always picking on me first. Well, I'm working on the Blazer. Hold on, don't touch me, Mike. I'll make myself big.
He likes it when I touch him.
I've got the chassis is together,
Nice.
motors in place.
Nice.
I probably should have saved it for while we were on here, but I just scratch built those shocks. And now I'm currently fighting with the exhaust system, which is proving to be slightly challenging. But that's what I'm working on.
That's it. All right, Tim, you're up next.
All right. Well, I finished the GTX police car. I'll show it to you.
Nice. I get to touch Tim. He lets me touch him. So
yeah.
Hang on. Let me get you big.
All right,
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool. The front fit, that push bar fit great.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That come out nice.
Yeah, paint come out pretty good. It's got all the police crap on it.
Yeah.
The rear license plate is my favorite.
Run that. Run. I dare you. Run.
Yeah. Those wheels are resin wheels by Jay's Resin Wheels on eBay.
Nice.
And the underneath, I just kind of made it look a little dirty and shitty because it is a police car.
Right.
So yeah, it come out pretty good.
I'm loving that paint, Tim. That process that you use really, really works. That paint is just shining, brother.
Yeah,
shining.
I'm doing something right, I think.
Right.
At least I keep telling myself I am. So I finished that, and now I am working on a new project. I am building 2 56 Chevy Nomads.
Nice.
They're going to be identical. One's going to be on a trailer. One's going to be obviously towing the trailer. Same paint, same colors, which is dark walnut, brown metallic, and silver. But one of them is going to be a bond find on the trailer. So instead of having a before or after, it's going to be an after and a before.
Right. There you go. That works. That works.
So I got the chassis done. The crappy one, I got a dent in the door. The rockers are gone. The fenders are bent out.
Yeah. That's the barn find.
That's the bond find. And the other one, all I get painted on it is just the silver. The silver's on the sides.
Look at that.
So it's going to be, the silver's going to be, the spare all the way down and that, and then just the back half.
All right.
And then the rest of it will be that walnut brown.
Sweet.
So I'm working on the chassis now, and the bond find one, I got a 3D printed engine that I'm going to put in there just half a part because it's got some good detail in it.
Nice.
So I got
So
I got some photo etch, a head gasket and some intake gaskets, and so I'll put all that stuff under the hood and make it look like it was being worked on before it was parked. So.
Hell yeah. That's cool as shit, man. I like that idea. That's kind of like a little vignette type thing. Not really a diorama, but like a vignette. The the after end before.
Yeah. Well, when you're handicapped like I am, you sit in your hobby room and stare at your models and think of stupid stuff to do.
There you go.
That's what I come up with.
Yeah. Also, I feel the need to correct you, Mike. I don't know what a barn find is, but a barn find.
Bond
Yeah.
find.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I forget I'm outnumbered.
Yeah.
I got 3 of you northeasterners up here.
Yeah.
So
You're originally from up here, though.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was born in Vermont. So
He's been gone long enough where he's lost it, though.
I can bring it back. Yeah, we can bring it right back. Make talk just like them Thunder Guns up there. Yeah. My God, the snow was so deep out there today. We had to get 10 shovels to get it.
Now, see, that sounds like you're from Minnesota.
No, that's
Yeah.
what Vermont sounds like.
Oh, is it?
Half French and half lost. You guys over in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, you're a little more refined, and then of course you got Long Island over there. You got that's the King's English there, if you will, or the Queen's English. Now, Frankie, I know you're kind of coming in on short notice, but you got something on your bench you want to share?
I'm still working on the USAC dot.
Me too.
It'll get done when it's done. There's no sense rushing it. I already missed the deadline, so.
Same here.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now my goal is Acme, to get it done for Acme. If I can get it done there, I'll be happy to be able to show it at Acme. But
I yesterday I went to NNL East.
Mm-hmm.
Met some cool people.
Bought
some cool stuff.
We will circle back to that because we want to hear all about that NNL East. I've never been, so I'm going to live vicariously through you. But in the meantime, I will show my progress on my 71 roundy round. I actually got the carburetor mounted on the motor. That's a VCG small block, and we've got some more of the cage and interior put together. And today we'll be working on finishing up the cage so I can mount the body to the chassis and then do the running gear, the steering and the rear end. And after that, it's just decals. And I'm done with it. Hopefully I'll be done before the deadline, but that's another conversation you and I got to have, Jason. We got to do another get together and do a thing for May 1st is coming.
Holy cow. Quickly, too.
I know, right?
Yeah, next Friday.
Yep.
Goodness.
I know, right?
Why, what's May 1st?
May 1st. Go ahead, Jason.
Start of the Saturday night short track build. It starts over again. It ends the day before and starts it ends May 1st and starts May 1st.
Yep.
Didn't you already build a couple?
I already, probably.
Yeah.
May 1st is also the start of outdoor drinking season. Hooray, hooray. The 1st of May, outdoor drinking starts today.
Really?
Clearly you were not with me this weekend at Daytona Beach.
I grew up with alcoholics. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just never thought it like that. I just thought when it's time for beer, it's time for a beer.
Right.
Yeah, but it's nice to go outside drinking.
Yeah.
Right.
True. I usually, when I was younger, I drank a lot and did a lot of silly things. And
what's happening?
So now I'm a home drinker. If I want to have a couple of beers, or what I like is a little Crown Royal with some Diet Coke after a crappy day to take the edge off and just sip it throughout the night so I can sleep. I did enough of the other drinking before I met my wife when I was in my 20s. So I think by the time I was 20, I was just about all done drinking.
Yeah.
I had the beard when I was 16. So I was always the guy that everybody looked for. Let's go find him. He can buy us beer.
He can buy you beer.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Tynito Ostruck, welcome. I think that's the first time I've seen that name. Billy Strange in the house, and he spelt it out for me, so now I can pronounce it correctly. Fine.
Yep.
I'm old enough to remember you used to hear old people, like, they wouldn't say bond, they'd say bine. Because there was a bunch of buildings in the neighborhood where I grew up. I always thought they were saying carbine, like the type of rifle.
Right.
But what they were really saying was carbon.
Oh.
Like, I have to go to Woik. Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
And the guy Butch from the Little Rascals, his sidekick was Woim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Word.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was an old speech affect that was around in like the 20s and the 30s.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was,
I think you're from the 20s or 30s, though.
Yeah.
but they were all the old people. I got yelled at a lot by old people when I was growing up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Actually,
did we all? I still do.
It still happens.
I work at a small dealership for small equipment, small engine stuff, and I'm the parts guy. And almost every guy that comes in is over 70, has no idea what he's working on, doesn't know why he's working on it. And if I ask them a question, they just stand there and yell at me because I'm bothering them. They're doing a chore they really don't want to do. And if I ask them a question, they get all upset.
oh my goodness, that sounds like so much fun.
I said to one guy the other day, I said, you keep this up, I'm going to call the house and tell your wife no dessert for you after dinner. Shut right up. Didn't say a word after that.
How do you follow that up?
Nice.
Well, guys, Tinito Ostruck says his nickname's Tiny. That we can remember.
I can definitely remember Tiny.
Chris from Chris's House of Plastic, Sluggo, Donnie's in here. Stephen Kessel. Actually, Stephen was in here really early. Good to see you back, buddy. So we said we were going to make a full circle. Frank, you want to tell us about your time at NNL East and take your time? Tell us all about it because I'm living through you, my friend.
So yesterday, my day started at 3:30 a.m. Got up, got in the car, hit the road. It was right about 3:45. So it brought back a lot of memories of driving home.
Yeah.
When I was younger, roads were empty. I made it over to Wayne, New Jersey by about I got there around 5:30. No traffic. I don't think I got any tickets going through the toll plazas. I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because they have speed cameras and you got to go through the Easy Pass tolls at less than 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're able to read your license plate fine. It's just a control thing. They just want to. So I'm pretty sure I made it through it unscathed in that regard. Then we started 6 o'clock. The van shows up, and we got to carry the boxes in. So the Tri-State Scale Model Car Club is the host club for NNL East, and along with Tri-State, there's also guys from the Diversified Scalers Model Car Club. Besides being some of the most talented modelers I've ever seen, Ryan Kaiser, Ricky Wallace Jr., just amazing builders. But they're also some of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. They really are. They're just absolute gentlemen, and thank God for them. They tend to be younger and in better shape than me. Tri-State guys I might be of the younger of the Tri-State guys. Me and Frizzo might be the youngest. So those guys are they are a sight for sore eyes and sore backs and sore knees.
I bet.
So, we got everything in. We set the tables up. Now, I don't know if they do this at other model contests, but NNL East raises the tables. So you have the regular long tables that you see at a lot of venues.
Yes.
But they're raised up on pieces of PVC pipe.
Yeah, we do that.
About chest height.
Yeah.
And which is it's a really good idea. And it's actually calculated so that it's proper ADA height. So even people who are disabled can still participate in the show and see what's on the tables. It helps with lighting. It helps with camera work. It's really it's a great idea. It was the first place where I ever saw it done. The first time I went to NNL East, which might have been 2007. And I remember seeing it. I was like, wow, it wasn't the first model show I had ever been to, but it was the first one where I ever saw raised tables, and I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah,
we do that
Been
for
doing
class.
that for years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, but NNL East, it's got to be, I would say, 100 tables.
Easily.
Yeah, easily 100 tables. So we got to get those lifted up. We got to get all the stuff in for the club to run the show, and then the diversified scalers. They set up the AV. They run the AV equipment for the day, and they have a display during the awards presentation. So we're usually done and set up by about, for the most part, all the hump work is done by 7:45, and then it's just putting out placards, don't touch the models or we'll break your fingers. The categories and stuff like that, and then the vendors start setting up. So it's one of those, believe it or not, you can walk around and look at the vendors setting up, but you're not allowed to buy anything.
Right.
So if you're ever on that really long line outside and you notice that there's a lot of people walking around inside, no sales are going. Sales are not allowed to be going on. So you can rest assured you're not getting gypped.
Right.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't even have thought of that, Frank, to be honest with you. I'm sure somebody has, and somebody's complained. That's probably why they do that. But
yeah, well, it's they really go out of their way. The Tri-State guys, they're pros at putting on one of the best shows out there.
I agree 100%.
They get that thing going and in record time.
Yeah.
To set up something like that, it's a well-oiled machine. So, and they do try to, you could tell that there's a lot of effort put into doing things fairly and properly. Yeah. It's not like one of those things where like you feel like you're being stratified into a class system.
Yeah.
Because even while you're standing online, they'll try to get as much of the details that need to be done before you can enter the building. They'll try to get, like, you get your goodie bag, you get your wristband, you might even pay before you can come inside. This way, once the doors open, it's like a floodgate. Everybody goes in, and then they start filling out their paperwork or getting their models out, and then by about 10:30, all the models are on the table and everybody's shopping. And that's when everybody goes around and starts to do their shop and check out other models. And for the most part, like get reacquainted, look for old friends and see who's around and start saying hello.
Yeah.
So it's an experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
But one of the things they set up is the model car hospital, because a lot of people suffer damage on the way to the show. Yeah. So they set up a table that has tools and stuff that you would need in order to fix your model should it be damaged in transit.
Yeah, I had to visit them last year.
That is an awesome idea. I've never been to a show that had that. It's a great idea, especially if you got vendors that are selling different types of products. It's a great way for them to maybe have a donor bottle of paint or a donor bottle of glue, or hey, check out these side cutters, something like that. Yeah. That's a great.
Well, there's tools. There isn't so much paint.
Yeah,
because that would run into, like, they'd have to dispose of leftovers and stuff like that. They have to leave. They have to be out of there by a certain time, and God forbid somebody knocks over a jar of paint.
Right. Yeah. Maybe paint was a bad choice, but like nippers or knives or
they get everything you need to repair a model. And the guy that works the table is super nice.
He is.
Dave Wood.
Yeah. Dave Wood.
Dave Wood. Good friend.
Yeah, nice guy.
So Dave, that's usually where I hang out when because there's seats and I'm lazy.
I can relate to that. That's where I'd be hanging out.
Okay.
I never.
Can I interrupt real quick? I don't want to lose this.
Sure.
Tim, this is for you. Highlighted comment.
Yeah, I'm a short, fat, bald guy with hair sticking up everywhere. That's why I wear the hat all the time.
Oh my
They're like a
goodness.
Monchichi.
Right. Sorry, Frank. I just thought that was funny.
Nate, do you want me to go get my hat and put the hat on to make you feel better?
So Dave Wood runs the. He's the chief. He's a fellow in the Academy of Model Car Surgery. He completed his residency at Johns Hopkins. He's board certified. He doesn't touch anybody's model. He provides the materials you need to fix it, and you do it yourself because they don't want the liability. Right. They're not gonna put anything. It was funny. David stepped away for a second. Somebody goes, "Are you the doctor?" No. I dropped out of model medical school,
years ago
before my residency.
I had heard some rumors that maybe the car count was down this year. Is there any truth to that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If it was, it would probably be due to the weather. The weather was pretty nasty in the morning yesterday in New Jersey. Okay. Throughout the Northeast in general, it was pretty crappy out. It did clear up later on in the day, but the thing with NNL East, the line tends to wrap the building. Starting when I got there, 5:40-ish, there were already 14 or 15 cars in the parking lot.
Wow.
For a show that doesn't open until 9 a.m.
Wow.
And it's about an easy when you come from the front of the building to that first corner, then the length of the building, then around the back of the building, down those stairs, and then back out towards the parking lot. That's probably a total of about 1,000 feet. Mm-hmm. And that line is 1,000 feet long by the time those doors open. And then you have people who show up afterwards because they don't feel like standing online, but the lion's share of people are online to get in.
Yeah.
And when it's raining, you got to make do I want to drive all the way to New Jersey to stand on a line that's going to be 2.5 hours long with the model that I just, even if they're in a case, I mean, you run the risk of damaging. So weather can affect the numbers. I wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't seem. The only categories that I saw were down there were less tables for straight line competition, but there was still a very healthy amount of straight line competition. And the Canadian contingent participates a lot. They are very highly represented in the factory stock.
Mm-hmm.
Those tables were still crowded, but you could. I noticed a slight drop off in maybe the Canadian contingent. Although I did meet Natalie Prue. Yeah.
Yep. She's nice, very nice young lady.
Very nice lady. Yeah,
very good build.
Darryl Romaine introduced me to her.
Nice.
Yeah, it was,
the first year Jason went with me to NNL. I said to him, "We'll be up at 6. We'll be out of the hotel by 7." Now the hotel was literally what, Jason? 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah,
if that. And he said, "Why are we leaving so early?" I said, "You'll see."
Yeah,
we were probably what, 20th in line.
20th in line. Yep.
We were right out front, right by the door, and Jason did a video and he walked around a little bit. And he stopped when he couldn't see the line go around the corner. He said, "This is why we've been standing here since 7 o'clock this morning."
Yeah.
My video coverage is I'll probably have it. I have the footage of all the models edited. Mm-hmm. I did my intro. Couple of things that like some vendor stuff and some shop card shout outs of people that I met. But it's probably going to be about just the footage alone of models is probably an hour and 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't get every model though, because it like a big show. I don't know what it is. like I put my models on the table, and not saying this is bad one way or another, but I put my models on the table, and I try to forget they're there. I don't go check on them. I don't. There are people who camp out by their models and they don't get out of the way, which is fine. And I mean, who am I? I'm not going to. Excuse me, big time YouTuber walking through here. Get out of the way.
Yeah. So when I went, both years that I went, I would put my stuff on the table, and then the only time I would go back is if somebody pulled me aside and said, "What did you bring? I want to go see it." Right. So then I would walk them over to it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I was talking to people, taking multiple trips through the vendor area, because there's no way you can just walk through once and see everything. And then before you know it, the day's over, and it's like, holy cow, where did the day go?
You can walk around that vendor, the display room, right? You can walk around that room, say at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then walk around again at 12 o'clock and see stuff that you missed earlier. You could be in the display room all day and still miss stuff.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
I'll watch now. Guys will do videos, especially where I wasn't there this year. But guys will do videos. I'll watch them all because you're going to see something different in all of them.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Jody was sending me pictures yesterday of stuff he thought I would like, right? And I was also perusing certain Facebook posts from the show yesterday too, and I was like, "Did you see this model?" And he was like, "Wait, no. Where was that?" And it's like, There's no way you can see everything there. I would photograph and videotape the entire tables. And watch my own videos and say, "Oh wow, I don't remember seeing that."
Yeah.
The only person who ever successfully photographs every single thing on the table every year consistently for the past 20 or so years is Billy Kingsley, because he is relentless.
Yeah.
So what happens is a lot of times, because Model Cars was there, and so was Auto Model Magazine. They were both there, and they want to take pictures of your builds. So they'll leave like a piece of paper, bring it to the photo booth, and like you're going through trying to get footage. So you're trying to get around people who are also taking pictures. You're trying to get around the folks that can't buy their builds. And you try, but then there's also like people online to get their models photographed for a magazine. So Billy will get a picture of your model. He's never failed. He's got a picture of everything that's on the table. Every year on his photo. This year Billy brought 100 models.
That's what I thought so. All is NASCAR, right?
Yeah, 100 models.
Wow.
Yeah. And you would think somebody who has 100 built models, like they excellent builds. Phenomenal. And just the sweetest guy, like
he's
just
a super nice guy.
Oh, one of the nicest people you ever meet in your life.
Yeah, nice guy.
But take 10 seconds to think about the logistics involved. I don't care if you lived across the street.
Yeah, he lives in upstate New York.
The logistics involved with getting 100 models there, getting them out of whatever it is you carry them in, getting them on the table. That dude worked before. He did a lot of work just to be able to show what he had off.
That's insane. That is really insane.
At our show every year, our show's in October. And we usually average around 400 models. And I always bring 18 to 20. And the reason why I do that is nobody wants to go to a model show and see 20 models on a table.
Exactly.
They want to see 400 models. So I do that to help my club and help the show. Because the more models there are, the more the people want to go and see it.
Sure.
Exactly.
So I understand why Billy did it, and I applaud him for that. That's a ton of work, like you said, Mike. Bringing 100 more, I bring 20. It's a pain in the butt.
And every single one of them was a pleasure to look at.
Yeah.
Every single one of them was a pleasure. I wish I had the time to sit there and pore over each one, because he's meticulous in his attention to detail. If he's showing you a NASCAR, that's exactly the way that car looked for the race. And he knows, if you point to the car, he knows which car that was, what race it looked like that.
Yeah.
He's an encyclopedia of knowledge.
Mm.
He's from the town of Newburgh Model Car Club. Which
No, those guys are all amazing.
It's the pantheon of modeling excellence.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's you have Doug White in there, Vince Labasco, Rick Hanmore, some of the best modelers in the world. Like,
honestly, if somebody approached me from that club and said, "Listen, we want to bring you into the fold, but you got to kill somebody," I would say,
exactly.
Okay, when and where?
Blood in, blood out. There's a question for
Has
you,
build
Frank.
quality improved? Yeah, absolutely. Paint finish has improved. The first model car show I went to was at Staten Island Community College, which now I think is part of a different campus, but it was off the Staten Island Expressway. You could see it from the Staten Island Expressway back in the 80s. It was done in conjunction with a full-size car show. My uncle had a 1965 Impala SS convertible that was all original, and this would have been the mid-80s, and it was in original condition. Minimal. It wasn't even dirty underneath. And in the cafeteria of the school, they had a model car show going on. I remember the finishes being shiny, but still with some texture. So that's the baseline. Right. Then the next time I would have went to a model show would have been in adulthood. I would say sometime in the early 2000s, where paint was shiny, but there was still orange peel, with the exception of Del Peon.
Yeah,
his models were his models were phenomenal, and there were a couple of customs, and I'll it was like a dark cherry, almost the same color that I did on the Mustang, on the top of the Mustang for Jason's group build.
Yeah.
And same color, a rich, thin depth. So the paint looked a mile deep, but didn't look like it was like dipped in paint.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was maybe 2 or 3 of that caliber at the show. So as the years progressed, you started to see more people developing the ability to polish out their paint, or even bothering to do it to begin with.
Right.
So yes, absolutely. The build quality has increased dramatically. I think now we have more access to tools, materials, in order to improve the finish, the painted finish.
Yeah, I think it's much better.
Yeah, we've had access to like wire and braided hoses and stuff like that for probably going on at least 35 to 40 years. The first model car that I ever wired the engine was in the original issue of the Monogram 1937 Ford sedan. And that would have been, I would say, my freshman or sophomore year of high school. So 1987, 1988. And it was around then. But even before then, people were like, they would pull sewing thread through beeswax in order to wire. But this was actual solid core electrical wire of the proper gauge with the proper insulation thickness to accurately represent a spark plug wire in 1/24 or 1/25 scale. So, and that was Detail Master, the original iteration of Detail Master. And then we're at the point now, you know, back then when you had the wire, the hardest part was finding the drill bits.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you could go on Amazon and order up that $7 set of drill bits that look like this.
Yeah.
You know, there was no such thing. You had to get that little trapezoid shaped index, drill bit index that had one size 80 drill bit that broke as soon as you put it in the chuck to you'd get 4 holes if you were lucky.
Yeah.
In order to, you'd get 4 holes if you were lucky. And then now we're at the point where you could order a pre-wired distributor, or the 3D printed distributors that you get, they already have the dimples. You could conceivably just stick the wire in. It's probably deep enough. But if you wanted to deepen the holes in order to do it, things are improving, not just by nature of the fact that people have more access to information on how to do it, more materials in order to do it, and more parts and pieces in order to do it. So it's a natural progression.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of tools,
I'm right here.
Yeah, we know. Don't worry, we're keeping track of you. So I have somebody has a question for me. Nope, that's the wrong one. There it is. Somebody has a question for me. How do I like these magnifiers? I couldn't build without them. There's some days I want to walk around the house with them just so I can be like, oh, what are the ingredients in this? And because my 54-year-old eyes are not what they used to be. So, it goes without saying, if you look on here right now, 3 out of the 4 of us are wearing them.
Yeah.
It's like a necessity at this point.
I have them, but I'm still at the point where I can build like this.
Yeah.
Just barely.
You're
just barely.
Envy you, my friend.
I use them so much, I bought a second pair. So when the battery runs out on this one, I can go plug these ones in and put on a second pair.
Yeah.
But you also have to keep in mind, I also have a lot lower standards than you guys. You keep the expectations low. You don't need the magnify.
Wait a minute now you're starting to take my role. I'm the lowbrow guy. There'll be no stealing of my role, damn it.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, as I tell my wife all the time, I was a stud long before electricity.
I have an interesting new product to show you guys, which you may have heard of.
Oh, wonderful.
A lot of people are very enamored with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner.
Yes.
And it was a game changer. It's still a wonderful product. What's the biggest problem with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner?
Right now, you can't get it.
Yeah, accessibility. But I think I know where you're going.
So what happens? What happens when there's a hole in the market?
Somebody fills it. There it is.
Oh, look at that.
He's released it.
No,
Yep. I got asked on Facebook or maybe one of my videos the other day if they couldn't find the Mr. Leveling, and they were asking about it. And I told them, I know that they're coming out with it. I'm not sure if they dropped it yet, but I knew it was coming out, so it's out for sure now. Here
it is.
That is
signed by Marcos Cruz, because nice. He helped with the development. He helped test it.
Nice.
So it is
very nice.
On the label, it says that it's compatible with naturally MCW enamels, Tamiya X and XF series. That's the regular Tamiya bottles, the hybrid acrylic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And their LP, which is this stuff, the lacquer painto.
So basically what I'm working with right now, either the LP or the XF.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now, the aluminum.
You could use it on Mr. Color solvent base paint, Humbrol enamel. But realistically, if you're using Humbrol enamel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Although I say that, but I have seen people, Humbrol enamel is of such a quality of an enamel paint.
Yeah.
I have actually seen people who have brush painted properly thinned Humbrol enamel onto the body of a model car, and it looked pretty cool.
Wow. That's funny.
Does it say anywhere on there how that would be on a ham and cheese sandwich?
Taylor ham.
Very nice.
So
AK real color.
I'm sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
No, okay.
I was going to say I just learned that Tim has a Pinterest channel. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you have a Pinterest channel, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody on Mr. Leadhead Customs is saying that you have the best Pinterest page for model builders. I did not know that. Now I have to download Pinterest.
Yeah.
Is it a Pinterest for models?
Yeah. What Pinterest is you go on there and you create what they call a board, and you just post whatever pictures you want on it. So I don't know how many boards. I got like 20, I think. So each board for me, how I set mine up, complete model builds that I find from YouTube channels, pictures I take at shows, some pictures of my models, pictures I find online. So one of them's labeled Model Cars 1 and it has 3,000 pictures. I'm up to number 6. Each one has 3,000. So you click on that board and you'll see anything. I got one for model trucks. And then I have ones for model boxes. So like it's just a box off from like old AMT kits all the way up to some newer stuff.
That's cool. I didn't even know.
Just all model stuff. So
wow.
If I'm building something, I want an idea of something. I just pick one of the boards and I just kind of scroll through. It's in no order whatsoever. So like the one that says Model Cars, the newest Model Cars 6. We just went to Down East Con, so any pictures I took from Down East Con are on there.
No kidding.
You're gonna see just all model cars from that show, and it's just all it is. It's just like flipping through a slideshow. That's all it is.
Nice.
So, yeah, I started doing it before I got back into modeling, because before I got back on, I still went to a couple of shows. I was still interested. I just didn't model. So.
Yeah,
it's
look at the shock on Jason's face. Yeah, because you think you know somebody. I had no idea.
I told you that. Yeah, a year when I first met you, I told you that.
But now the big question, Tim, and you have to answer honest.
Yeah.
Do you have an OnlyFans too?
Well,
not model related.
No, he's got like all kinds. He's got big industrial fans. He's got the little oscillating fans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I tell you, I'd show you some pictures from my OnlyFans page, but there are some things in life you just can't unsee. Hey, I'll bring up a Pinterest page on my phone so you can see what it looks like.
That is literally the name of my.
Brian didn't know either. So I don't think you told anybody this, Mr. Tim Ryan.
I did. All right, boards.
That's the name of my OnlyFans page. Things you can't unsee.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, while we're on here, Brian, is my model still there?
Hang on.
No?
Not working the way I want it.
He said no.
Look at
another. I don't know if you guys heard of this one yet.
Oh wait, and then he said yes. I'm so confused. I'm torn.
What you got, Frank?
Have you guys heard of Fuse Sprues Loose?
No.
3D printed parts that are not your typical, no engines, but for example, I got this, which is a conversion to turn a 1967 Plymouth GTX from Revell into a 1966 Satellite.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, no kidding.
3D printed grill. And the benefit of having the 3D printed grill is that you don't have to sand out the back to open the holes. You don't have to put a wash in it. It is open already.
Nice.
So
nice.
Here's what Pinterest looks like.
Oh, check it out. That is too cool.
Wow.
You just scroll up and it's just pictures of model cars. That's it.
Now, is it subscription based?
No.
People just go by and look at it and check it out.
There are people that do food recipes on there and stuff like that. Everybody does a little bit of something. So you can create the boards to whatever you want to be. I mean, if you're into flowers and you want to have pictures of flowers, you can do whatever you want. But
that's
cool. I've been doing the model cars thing for a while.
nice.
Sometimes I'll pick like Revell and I'll look at it because it's all just pictures of the face of the box.
Hmm.
So sometimes you just like to look at the box art.
Mhm.
How many times have you bought a model because you thought the box art was cool?
99%. Yeah, 99% of the time you get the box art's got to be cool.
Right.
Either that or you got a vision in your head already. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you've inspired me. After this, while I'm out there watching TV tonight with my beautiful wife, I'm going to open up a Pinterest account and download some pictures.
There you go.
That's a good question, Sluggo. How do they find your? Just punch in model cars? Do we punch in Tim Ryan?
That's how I found it. I just typed in model cars and a bunch came up.
Yeah. How do we find you specifically, though?
I don't know. Hang on.
Fair enough.
I opened it so long ago. It doesn't know how it work. I don't have to log in no more. You're asking a stupid guy to give you some important information.
Well,
Right.
I mean, you're the only outlet for this, so we don't have a choice.
I beg your pardon, Tim. I'm the stupid guy.
Okay.
Listen, I said it earlier. I say it again. I hold the standard for lowbrow. Y'all got things going on. I'm just here taking up space.
So it looks like, go ahead and stop. It looks like it's at like the Pinterest sign and then T Ryan 67.
Okay.
So here, I'll show you the profile if you want to make it big, Mike.
Hang on just a second. I'll blow you right up. There it is. At T Ryan Pinterest.
At T Ryan 67. You got 3,000 followers on there, dude. Holy Christ!
Yes.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But I've been doing it for years, so
Yeah.
I guess there's more model geeks than the four of us.
I'm with you, Mr. Strange. How do I use the thing I use?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't even want to get into it. I bought this computer so I could up my game, and I successfully haven't made a video in 3 weeks trying to figure out this computer.
Yeah. Listen, I dressed myself this morning. You can't ask for a whole lot more than that. And it was only because my wife laid my clothes out for me.
And contrary to what Frank said,
I dressed myself this morning because I fell asleep in these clothes last night.
There you go.
and contrary to what Frank said behind the scenes, you are actually wearing pants. You got up to move around. We saw that you were actually wearing pants.
Yeah, I am wearing pants. Yeah.
We were
that would have been awful. Can you imagine?
The boxer briefs.
Well, you know what it is? It's what you didn't see is the leopard thong that I have on underneath.
Oh,
Yuck.
my.
Yuck.
Yeah,
Told you there's some things you just can't unsee.
that's a fact.
Check these out. 1966 Belvedere wheel covers.
Stand by, Frank.
Boom, he's big.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is cool.
Drop-in replacements. So these are made for specific kits. So I got the satellite wheels, the satellite grill, 67 GTX grill, and the benefit of having the grill, like I was saying, is you don't have to put a wash in it. You don't have to sand the back in order to open the holes. It's already open for you.
Nice.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah, that is very nice. Yeah.
And he's got a lot of parts for the new Stranger Things Blazer that came out. It's mostly grills and a couple of wheel covers. He has a set of wheels for one of those new 22 Chargers. I was standing there with James Duff. He was talking about what they're good for, but
Yeah.
it was like a kit that I have, but I have no intention of building anytime soon. So I kind of glazed over.
Yeah.
But I also got the do I have it here? I might not have it here. The new Coronet 65 Coronet 4 headlight version for the new Mobius kit.
Oh, nice.
So really nice stuff. I'm releasing the video probably tonight. There'll be links to it. He only has an eBay store right now, so there'll be links to it in the video. Few Sprues Loose.
Yeah.
I think I bought
Young gentleman. Yeah, he has a hood scoop set for the new Demon. He's got a grill set to turn the 71 Demon release into a 72. So Jason Klein would probably be very happy with that.
Yeah.
Really nice stuff. And it if you buy a grill, it's got the clear headlights and marker lights that'll fit. It's just because it's 3D printed resin, you're going to want to clear coat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to want to clear coat the clear parts in order to make them more translucent.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was Tim and I were actually talking yesterday on the phone, and that was one of my, not complaints, but wishes that the Stranger Thing Blazer had a nicer grill. So this is the grill. This is what my grill looks like, and it was, so that had to do that with a fine point Sharpie pen.
Yeah.
Because there's literally no other way that you could color those in.
Yeah.
Without sanding open the back and like cutting, drilling it out and all that. And I would have been here for 3 days doing that. So a nice grill for this kit is probably going to sell like hotcakes.
That's why I haven't started mine yet. Because I know guys are going to start releasing upgraded parts for it, because I don't think Revell's done with that mold yet. There's going to be some other versions of that coming out.
Well, they already announced the high roller based on the kit.
Yeah.
So,
but
I agree.
They shortchanged the high roller as the original high rollers, because if you look at the new high roller that's coming out, it's got a little set of BFG all-terrains on it, where the old high rollers all had them big groundhogs on them, which at the time were like, you couldn't get those. Those tires were like revolutionary, right?
You want to see a cool high roller? Let me show you a cool high roller.
Stop it. You know that those are on my damn wish list.
Oh, this one you can't get though, because he's got it from when he was a kid. Built.
The Chevelle?
I built that in 1982.
Nice.
Look at that paint on that thing. That's Testa's spray can.
Nice.
From a 13-year-old.
You did good, man.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah. And with the most amazing part of it is it survived all these years. You know, I moved. It was up in the attic for a long time. I moved a couple times. It's the only kit that I still have.
Oh, wow.
Nothing from my childhood survived.
Same here, Frank.
It's the funny thing. I have the version of Revell Monogram 70 Chevelle. You know, it's blue on the box with the blower and all that.
Yeah.
The chassis in that has all the holes for that suspension.
Okay,
but they never reissued the kit, which I was surprised. I wish they would reissue it.
I think when they issued that one, and Tim, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that had red box art, and then they had the Camaro that was available, the F-150. I've got the Ram Charger.
Yeah,
that's the only high roller I got.
There was a Bronco. There was a Ram Charger. There was an F-150. There was a Chevy Love. There was the Camaro. There was the 70 Chevelle. There was 8 of them. There was one more. I'm forgetting one. Did I say the Ram Charger?
Yeah,
that might have been. Yeah. And the Chevelle was black on the box, like it was sitting on top of a mountain, and it had like this red, funky looking, squarish stripe down the side or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Brian, I think the company you're talking about, Brian, is Canuck 3D. Brian was talking about a company that out of Canada that makes those grills for those kits. I think it's Canuck 3D that does.
I do.
That.
I bought a grill from him, and you know how the Silverados back then had that beautiful aluminum piece on the tailgate?
Yeah,
he makes those as well. I bought one of them too from him.
Oh,
they're
wow.
nice. They fit good, but I think they made for the Monogram trucks, not that Blazer.
Yeah,
because like the step sides and you know.
Yeah, I believe I have a grill. I have one of those grills. I think I got it from Chris Martin. So it was either from Canuck 3D or it was a file from Canuck 3D that Chris printed. I'm not sure. Either way, the grill is beautiful, right? But it's for the Monogram 124 scale truck. It won't fit the Blazer.
Right, and I think that's the one I got. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Frank, Jeff is asking one more time. Is it a Sprues Loose? Is that the name of that guy?
Few Sprues Loose.
Okay.
Instead of screws, spews.
Yeah, there you go.
Sprues. Yeah, I'll have a link in my video tonight. It'll be in the description.
I said to Jason that last year at NNL, my only one thing that bothered me about the show, and it has nothing to do with the show. The people that put on that show are phenomenal. They do a great job. I can't say enough about it. Mm-hmm. I was just disappointed in the vendors because a couple of the truck guys, this guy, Gary Wallace out of New York, he passed away. So I couldn't buy any truck stuff from him. Don Yost, who I've watched his videos, that's where I learned how to paint. He passed away. There was another guy, this guy Zimmerman, I used to buy wheels from. He wasn't there. And then Dave Natal at AITM Trucks, he passed away, so he wasn't there. Slicks Decals wasn't there. So there was a lot of aftermarket stuff that wasn't there. And, you know, it was all vendors selling kits. Well, I can buy a kit anywhere.
Yeah.
This year, MCW was there. Splash Paint was there.
Splash Paint was there? I like his paint.
Splash Paint was there. Beautiful I love Splash Paint.
Yeah.
STS Decals was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't there last year.
Yeah.
Did Matthew make it, MCW?
No, he had to cancel.
Okay.
No.
But I know Scott Comer was there from Auto Modeler.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard Greg actually himself from Model Cars was there, which is really good to hear because he physically wasn't doing well for a while. So,
yeah. That's a rough flight, and they were flying back today.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, God, I hope they're stopping in California.
Right. Yeah.
I did that flight from, I guess he'd probably be leaving out of Newark, but if he's taking the direct flight on Hawaiian out of JFK, that's an 11-hour flight.
That's about 10 hours and 45 minutes too long for me.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
And we did that in coach. I said to my wife, if we ever do that again, we're leaving these damn kids at home and we're going first class.
Yeah.
And for themselves.
As a TV show once said, everything was going great until those meddling kids found out.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those meddling kids.
And the last time Heather and I flew anywhere, we were frugal with our ticket prices. And it was almost a disaster. On the flight back, was it the flight back? I think it was the flight back. We couldn't sit next to each other. We were like 9 rows apart, right? The flight there, we were the very last 2 people on the plane.
Wow.
And then on the flight back, we couldn't sit next to each other. So I sat down, she sat down, I sat down, and this very, very nice little old lady who was sitting next to me, she said, "Oh, how are you?" And this and that. I said, "Well, it could be better. You know, I was hoping we'd be able to sit together, my wife and I," but she's like 9 rows up. She goes, "Oh my God, that's awful." She like, "What's her name?" Got up, grabbed her bag, walked away, and here comes Heather 5 minutes later. She's like, "I don't know who that was, but she just told me to go sit next to my husband."
Nice.
Otherwise, we would have been stuck not sitting together. And I said the same thing. Next time we fly
fought
somewhere,
it, didn't you?
What's that?
You fought it, didn't you? Yeah, I'm waiting for my wife. Yeah, I'll go get her.
Exactly. Yeah, secret's out. I ate lots of cabbage the night before too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she was trying to pick you up. Oh my God! Yeah, I'll go get your wife.
Oh, he's broken. I gotta turn that one loose. He's broken. Something's wrong.
Yeah, that's too funny.
I tell my wife all the time, honey. Now, she was, I think, 18 or 19 when I met her, and I was 22, I think. I said to her, "Honey, when you saw me the first time, what made you go, I just got to have that?" Do you want to rethink that now, 30 years later?
What's up, mediocre modeler? Good to see you, my friend. Swamp Cabbage is in here.
I met Mark in person yesterday.
Did you? I was going to ask about. There was another fellow that said he talked to the Just the Sprues Loose guy at the show. I was going to ask you if you had met him as well. Hang on, let me scroll back and see.
Let me tell you, Mark is one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet.
Oh, yeah. Super guy.
Chris Testa said he met that guy. So I don't know if you had a chance to meet him or not. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark is
nice guy.
His wife is super sweet. Nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, I'm very sorry that I missed that show. I couldn't make it. It's not that I didn't want to go. We
were going to
plan it
cancel
this year, so there's always that. But
when we found out you weren't coming, we were just going to shut the whole thing down.
Oh, I figured you guys were going to be like dancing in the parking lot. Woo! He's not going to be here.
Well, it would, as it would turn out.
Yeah. I've already got plans in the works for next year with Jody, and we're definitely gonna be there for sure. I'm sure Tim is in the same boat. I'm sure he's not gonna miss another year.
No. I just missed this year because I was very sick over the winter time, and I missed 2.5 weeks of work. And my boss never batted an eyelash. Just keep me posted. How you doing? He paid me the whole time I was out. I've only been with this company less than 2 years. Paid me for the time I was off. So I just didn't think it would be nice, the right thing to do to ask him for time off to go to NNL. So I didn't. So
I get that. Billy, I'm in the same boat as you, Billy. I started walking. I made it to the end of my driveway, and I'm like, you know what? New Jersey's just too far. So I just turned around and walked back.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the worst whole weekend.
There was a guy from California there. I was talking to him. He was at the last NNL West. Or what did they call it? NNL West?
Yes.
Yep.
He was at that. He was at the last GSL.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess he might get the long distance. Well, I guess Sam from Splash Paints. He came all the way from Oregon.
Yep.
I think Scott's
I heard that trail is murder. What?
Yeah.
Scott Comer.
Oh yeah, Scott. He's from Arizona, right?
Yeah. But we already talked about Greg from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Winner.
The husband and wife. I think the kid's name is Chris from that C1 Models. He was from Australia or something.
Yeah, was he there this year, Frank?
Oh,
C1 Models.
C1 Models.
Not that I noticed.
Okay, yeah.
What does he sell?
3D printed like trans kits and stuff like that. Yeah, Tim's bought a bunch of stuff from him.
The only 3D vendor that I saw there was Few Sprues Loose. I think they might have been there in the corner.
Is that a wide body kit for a Nova?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, thank you. Now I got to go shopping.
Yeah. I think they were there. I think they were. They were. I think they were in the spot that Matt Wells used to take. You know how Matt Wells used to be up against the wall in the gymnasium?
Mm-hmm.
I think they took that spot. I think. You can't rely on me. I'm stupid and I don't remember things well.
Well, you fit in perfect with us. So, who are you again?
That's the nose from C1 Models, and that kid I showed you.
That is amazing.
Yeah, the nose is beautiful, and what it is
I saw something like that on the Pinterest.
Yeah. The bumpers are shortened, so you have to cut the piece of the fenders off the front and the rear. Right. But the stuff fits nice. It's molded beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Our friend Chuck from Styrene Bender Garage is here. He said he was at NNL East as well.
Oh, nice.
Sounds like everybody was there except for me and you, Jason.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Mark Batson was there.
Mike wasn't there either.
Mark Batson was there. I got to meet Mark Batson.
That is probably my biggest FOMO, right? Yeah. Like, I love seeing all you other guys. I really do. But the chance to meet Mark Batson in person has been... Now I got to go all the way to Acme to do that.
One of the nicest guys. I've met him. I've been fortunate enough to meet him twice now. If you guys remember on the AMC show last year at Acme, he sat right beside me the whole time. He could have been up mingling, could have just sat down and said, hey, and been on his way. But he sat down there for the whole hour and a half that we did the show, hanging out. Just a super, super nice guy.
Nice.
And his 1/32 scale.
That number 3. Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Off the chain.
And then he had the Pontiac that's under construction. The model's complete, but as if the NASCAR with the template on it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Unreal. And then he also had out the phone booth show car. The finish on that was phenomenal.
Mm.
And like you said, one of the nicest people. Just a dynamite guy.
The other gentleman I would like to meet is Old Tom Rambler 69.
I've met him. I've met him. Just as nice a guy. He's just so nice, so open to help you.
Yeah.
And
as long as you don't have thin skin, he'll tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, that's what
I mean, not for nothing. Of all the really, really talented modelers out there, none of them are jerks.
Right.
They're all very nice people.
Exactly.
Me and Jason were talking about this yesterday. I think from all the shows I've traveled to and everything, there's probably been maybe 3 people that were not nice. And it's funny. One of them was last year at NNL, a YouTube guy, and he was not nice. He was actually very rude.
It happens. It happens.
You would find that most of the people who turn out to be douchebags aren't that good of a modeler.
Yeah.
But you also got to remember.
What the?
But you also got to remember.
Right?
We talked about this. I know Jason and I had this conversation. Maybe it was in a private, but what we have to remember, and not so much me, but you guys that have the big YouTubes that are popular, you have to remember that 15-second, 30-second time frame that they spent with you, that's where they're going to judge you, right? So you could be like, your wife could have just kicked you in the shin for getting onions on her hot dog, and she wanted jalapenos on her. You know what I mean? So when you spin around, hey, how you doing? That's what they draw from it when they.
But you know something? That's part of it. You got to watch. You got to be careful. If you're trying to do something in the public eye, people want to talk. People wanted to speak to me yesterday, and I'd never, I'm a wallflower in real life. I joke around a lot, but among people that I don't know, I keep my mouth shut, and people wanted to speak to me, and I'm glad that I did. You're gonna the footage that I took of the models. I had to speed it down to 60% because I was going through, because I wanted to talk to people that wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give them the impression like, hey, excuse me.
You can ask.
You get a bad reputation real quick.
Oh yeah, you can for sure. You can ask Tim, because every show I go to, the exception of the one in Vermont, Tim has been at, and I'm not trying to sit here and inflate my own ego, but I get pulled aside a lot. People want to talk to me. They want to meet me. A lot of people go to these shows just to meet me. Mm-hmm. And when I started my YouTube channel, I was not a people person at all. And through the channel, I've learned to be a people person. Not because I have to, but I found that I actually enjoy talking to people. And I never would have known that, because I spent the rest of my whole life up until that point avoiding people. So it's really crazy, but you get used to it. You really do.
Yeah.
I've had it happen to me once, where I got caught off guard, but I see guys like, we're talking about Old Tom. I've been blessed. He's invited me to his home. I've seen his whole collection, stuff that he's built when he was 12, 13 years old that he still has. But I see those guys at the shows, and guys, Fred Henry, even Mr. BG, people pulling them and all these different, come look at my stuff. And in their heart, they want to go check it out. They want to do it, but it's like they almost don't. I don't want to say it's annoying to them, but because I can't speak for them, but you can see where they'd be like, I would be a little bit more happy just maybe standing here and watching stuff, but nope, I'm going to go over there and look at that guy's thing because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had people pull me aside and want their picture taken with me. I've actually signed autographs, believe it or not. It's very, very strange at first, because you think, I'm a YouTuber and I got 4,000 subscribers or 3,500 subscribers, or sometimes even less, right? Why are these people? Why do they want to talk to me? I don't understand it. But
somebody walked up to me yesterday, and he almost made me cry. And he said that he was going through a very difficult time with a member of his family, and he was taking care of that member of his family. And he said to me that in his downtime, he would watch my channel. And I almost started crying because he's almost started crying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's be honest. I don't talk about it on my channel. I work for Verizon. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a field technician for the phone company.
Yeah.
We're not special people. You know,
No.
we don't. It doesn't make the news when we die.
Right.
So it's not like we're famous or people look up to us or anything like that. But if you can have an impact like that on somebody's life, that's it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I'm a schlub. And then another gentleman brought his daughter up to me. She's a really big fan. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wanted to take a picture with me. I was floored. It made my day, you know.
It really does.
You don't expect to go to a model car show and almost start crying.
Right.
Because, you know.
It's happened to me. It happened to me last year at NNL East also. And it really humbles you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
felt good if I can be a positive influence on somebody's life. You know, that's wonderful.
Yeah, Jimmy, you're in the same. I'm sorry, I was just looking at Jimmy's comment. Jimmy, you're not a nobody. I mean, we all feel like we're nobodies, but that's the influence that we're having. You know, you are somebody to somebody is what it boils down to. I had the pleasure. I don't mean to chase rabbits with this whole thing, but I had the pleasure in my one-to-one world. And some of these names I'll spit out that Jason knows. You guys may not know them, but guys like Matt Dustin from Bleep and Jeep. Now you're talking about a guy that's got 150, 200,000 subscribers. Marvin from Flex Rocks and Rollovers. In fact, I just seen Marvin this past weekend. These guys have a lot of followers. Every time they go in their world, they're dealing with the same thing, and they feel the same exact way as I do, as you do, Frank. You know, somebody will tell them a story. You know, my mom passed away and left me some money and told me to fix my Jeep up with it. And the whole time I'm fixing my Jeep up with it, I'm thinking about my mom and I'm watching your videos. So it's just how you can affect what we think we do is just kind of for fun. And, you know, maybe somebody will learn something if they're really lucky, or get entertained on a Sunday from 4 to 6 o'clock and maybe learn something or whatever. But at the same time, you can influence somebody's life and hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly. That's, like it or not, we're in the public eye.
That's
so
good term. Good term.
I try to always be respectful and not be a jerk. It's funny. The first couple of model shows I went to with Heather, she's like, you know, these people come up to you and they shake your hand and introduce themselves because they want to meet you. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you think maybe you should when they say, you know, hi, I'm nice to meet you, you should ask them what their name is and ask them like I was like, holy cow, you're right.
That's a good idea.
Like, yeah. It's very weird. But
I try to and I'll talk to them as long as they want to talk. And, you know, Jason, we say that now at 3,000 subscribers, but I can't picture myself being different if I ever get to 40, 50 or whatever, you know, like, I won't do it. I don't want to turn into a dick. No. That's the last thing I'd want to turn into, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. I would stop doing it. If believe me, a lot of people in my circle would cut me right down to size if my head ever got too big. They wouldn't tolerate that shit.
Right.
You
know? As I tell everybody, I have spray in my bathroom for one reason. And you have spray in your bathroom for the same reason. You don't think you're any better than I am because you're
right.
Yeah. I haven't figured out that attitude. I want nothing to do with you.
Right. Yeah. If I can figure out how to get both legs in my pants in the morning, I'll be learning something. But in my research to try to provide a better podcast, live cast, whatever you want to call it, I've gone onto the YouTubes, and this guy put it out there in a way that really makes sense to all of us. Whether it's like, we'll just use this example right now. We have 66 people in the chat. If you don't think that that's affecting somebody, think about standing in the room with 66 people and you're talking to them.
Yeah.
Now you take that number and add it to your videos where you're getting, I average right around 300 views per video on average. So think about that, 300 people in a room that you're entertaining. And when he put it to me like that, he put it on the video and I listened to it. That really struck home at that point because it's like, that's pretty, yeah. If that person tells one person, then it just kind of snowballs.
Exactly.
If I'm being honest, Thursday night, I came this close to shutting this channel down and not going to NNL East. I don't know what it was about that. The Thursday that just passed, 3 days ago, that night, my Facebook Messenger, my email for the channel, and my comment section, I had to ban 2 people. And it was all stuff like, how I joke around and say, don't put it in the comments, like I already know, like, about the mod top. It was that kind of shit. Like people like deliberately trying to get under my skin.
Yeah.
And then there were people demanding things from me. And one guy wanted me to print the mod top decals that I made when I specifically said I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna subscribe to your channel.
Okay. That reminds me. When do we have? Okay, that was Tuesday. You and I had a conversation.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking.
I'm out of
if you're my friend, you can. Yeah, but if you're trying, like I know, let's face it, I'm a fat nerd who grew up in New York City in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and my name is Francis. You think I never got picked on? I know when people are messing with me.
Yeah.
I can tell when people are messing with me.
Yeah.
And for whatever the case was, Thursday night, people were just messing with me to the point where I've had it with this crap. I'm done. Usually it rolls off my back.
It's sad.
It is sad. It is sad. Luckily, I don't have to deal with that much.
Yeah.
Much.
I
have a couple times in the past 3 years. Yes, but not often, which is really good. And that makes me sad, Frank, because I watched you on the automotive live cast Monday and you were having a blast. You guys were like, it just makes me sad that people out there are like that. Like,
to the point where a person that watches my channel was talking to me yesterday as we were filming. He goes, does it ever really bother you? I said, it's not that it bothers me. And I said the same thing about the way I grew up.
Yeah.
It bothers me that there are people in the world whose life is so empty that's how they gain fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's what makes me sad. It makes me angry that somebody turned that person into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to echo that's why I highlighted Terry's comment. I'm going to echo that again, going back to the guys in the one-to-one world that, were giving me pointers and tips. First and foremost, never take it personal. And I know how hard it is because this is our art. What we do, how we do it is really personal to us because it's what we do. But never take it personal and always remember that even a negative comment is still a comment. The algorithm doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't make it right or wrong, but at the same time, it's a way for you to be able to say, you know what, keep sending me the negative comments and he also told me never respond to a negative comment because negativity breeds negativity. Well,
like I said, when we were at NNL last year, there was that YouTube guy and it was rude. And he was with somebody that I know. And so I stood there talking for like 15 minutes and he was just rude the whole time. And then I saw him later in the day and he was just as rude. So all I did was just unfollow his channel.
Yeah.
So I didn't comment, oh, I met this guy. He's a this, he's a that. Yeah. That doesn't accomplish nothing. Maybe the guy was having a bad day. I don't know. Maybe something happened on the way there. I don't know. So you don't know the whole story. You don't know what everybody's going through. So instead of just being a jerk and shooting my mouth off, I just unfollowed his channel. That's all.
Right.
So why do you have to take the time to type in something negative? There's no need for it.
You got to be in a bad spot, and nothing in the world is work.
When I graduated high school, I'm sitting on the stairs of the auditorium, and I had this teacher, and I'll never forget him, Mr. Papathan. Now, I worked in the automotive shop. Oh, I was there more than I was in regular classes. I never had him as a teacher, but I used to work on his car for him. And I was sick as a dog, and I'm sitting on the stairs. He comes over. He says, "How you doing, Tim?" I said, "I'm okay, Mr. P." He says, "Well, listen, to make you feel a little better." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're just another pimple on the ass of progress. Just get used to it." So that's what we all are. We're just people just going along. If you don't like what I have to say or what I'm showing you or whatever, just walk on. Why do you got to be like that? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep, you're not wrong. It's easier. But
I get to the point though. I've done it, and I realize you don't. I know you shouldn't feed into the negative, but my problem is because of the way I grew up and getting picked on.
Yeah.
You know, around the 6th grade, I started punching back. So I will never start a fight with anybody.
Right.
But there is a possibility that if you start with me, I'll come back. And I am a fairly talented smartass. You know?
Yeah.
So you could get under my skin to the point where I might say something like, you see this behavior? This is why they don't let you see your grandkids. and that will trigger them, and they'll go ballistic, and then I'll just go, block.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
I got to tell you, Frank, your videos, they hit all kinds of range of emotions. That one that you said about your uncle that recently passed away, here I am, 58 years old, sitting in my desk watching a video, crying like a 2-year-old. It broke my heart. It really did. Yeah. But then you did that video on all the one with all the station wagons, and you talked about your sister. You looked at the way you looked at the camera. You said, "I had to straighten her out." And you looked at the camera. I was crying. I was laughing so hard because I grew up with 5 kids in the family, so I knew exactly what you were talking about. But that's just you being you, and that's good. So all these people that hate you and do stuff like that, don't feed into it and don't let it bother you. Because there's people like me that you make smile, you make cry, you make laugh, you make me think. You know, Jason's channels like that, Mike. Those are the channels I watch because I can tell the people that are being who they are and the people are just being phony. If you're phony, I want nothing to do with you. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to meet you. Right. So the guys that I think that are genuine, that if I watch your video and I think you're going to be exactly like that in person, I'd like to meet you and I'd like to be friends with you and stuff like that. So don't let those people get in because they're just doing it because they can. Because if they saw you in person, they wouldn't have the balls to say anything to you.
Yeah. No. If you meet a totally different Frank, they wouldn't like the Frank.
Exactly.
Well,
they won't like him.
If that guy that pissed you off saw you at NNL, he don't have to deal with you. He has to deal with you, but he has to deal with Frankie Frizzo and all the other guys that you're friends with, right? Yeah. Because if somebody heard you getting in a heat argument that you know at NNL, how many guys are going to be standing in line behind you?
Right? Probably. Yeah.
So, I just ignore some of that stuff. And I've had guys at model shows say stuff to me and whatever,
Yeah.
Just let it go.
I've never even seen well, I don't really look for it, but I've never, I've seen at other contests and events where there's there could be tension and stuff I've never seen a tense moment at NNL East.
Yeah.
The only thing that ever came close was the only time I went with my wife. We had just pulled in. We had to park by the railroad tracks up against them. And I turn the car off. I go to get out, and a guy walks up onto the railroad tracks. No joke, 6 feet in front of my wife's eyes. Starts going to the bathroom. So I didn't say anything. Because under any other circumstance, I would. Later on an online forum, I made mention of it. We're trying to foster a family-friendly environment. Might not be the best look. Might not be the best.
Right.
Dude, people jump down my throat. You don't know how far. Guy could have been in the car for 6 hours. Yeah. I was in the car for 4. You know, I was in the car, I got caught in traffic coming over. Yeah. It might have taken 3.5 hours to get there.
Yeah.
If God forbid, if I'm in that kind of emergency situation, there's a little league field right there with kids. You know, it's always on a Saturday. There's always games going on Saturdays.
Yeah.
You're doing that in front of children too. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
That was the only.
That's the first time I'd heard that. That's growth is experimental. Potential is endless. I think that's a great quote.
Yeah. I was last year at NNL East. I've had 2 bad experiences at a show. One, a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I watch you. I watch your videos. You're the guy that struggles with your paint and doesn't do so good."
I remember that.
Cool. Thanks, bud.
You know what you say? You say, you see this behavior? This is why you're not allowed to see your grandchildren.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Right. And then last year at NNL East, this guy, a very nice guy, right? Younger guy, very nice. I still don't know if he was trying to be a jerk or if it was just the way he was, right? But he's like, I watch all your videos. I'm a big fan. Did you bring stuff? I was like, yeah, I brought 3 models. Oh, can we go see them? Sure. So one of the models I brought was my light blue 49 Merc. We get up to that one, and he looks at it, and he goes, "What's up with the tire? Man, you could have done better." And I was like,
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to that man.
I was like, I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to be like, yeah, it is what it is. It's just a model car.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, what the actual F?
Who the hell? What the?
Right?
That went south quick.
Think about our hobby. Our hobby is one of the cheapest pastimes that you can fail at.
Yeah.
So if you don't have an aptitude to accomplish much, you might as well do it cheaply. And building models is a cheap way to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You could spend $7,000 or even $1,200 on a mediocre pair of golf clubs and suck all day, but you're $1,200 in the hole.
Right.
Think about the money people would spend on a pastime and be horrible at it. You go to Ollie's or you go to Walmart or you go to Hobby Lobby, you buy that $40 kit and you bomb it from near Earth orbit with paint and it looks like crap, but you have the self-satisfaction and you fail, but you also have the self-satisfaction of having the ability because of social media. And even if you're really a dead can, you could go to contests and grab a content creator, have him bring him to his models, and you could make that guy feel like, like uncomfortable with what you said. Yeah. Think of the lengths that people have to go through, like the things that guy went through in that day in order to say that to you. And at the end of the day, it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's sad that he's at a point in his life. That's what gets to me. That the world created a person that's sad. That's what makes me sad. The world created a person that's how he feels good.
Yeah.
That's the only comfort he has.
Well, yeah, it is sad. And it's like I said, I looked at him. It didn't affect me. I mean, it did, but it didn't, and of course, after I showed him all my models and I was like, well, what did you bring something? And of course, His answer was no.
Nope.
But, then I shook his hand. I said, hey, thanks for introducing yourself. I really appreciate the support. And
then you tripped him.
I wanted to.
Well,
get out of here.
I said to Jason once that, you go to a model show and you see ranges of models from absolutely blown away to something that looks like a 10-year-old built it. You never say nothing while you're standing there.
No.
If me and Jason are walking around together, I might say to him an hour later, did you see that blue Camaro? Oh, my God. It's a private conversation. Nobody hears it. You're not hurting anybody's feelings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a quick way to get people out of the hobby is by shitting on them.
Yep.
And I told Jason a story. I had a 70 Chevelle. I had it for 20-something years. It was a nice car. Not perfect. 10-foot car from 10 feet away. It looked beautiful. I'm at a one-on-one show, and it was a Chevelle show, and it was invitation only. And I always wanted to go, and I finally got invited to go. So me and my friend Bonnie, we go. We park the car. We're walking around, and some of the cars there were just guys trailered them. Some of them were just beautiful. Mine was a driver. It was a nice car, but it was just a driver. So there's two guys standing in front of my car. The hood's open, and they are tearing my car to shreds. They're just shitting all over it. So I'm standing there, and I'm listening. So I calmly walk over to the two guys. I said, listen, I said, you guys know this guy? Oh, no, we don't know him. I said, well, maybe he's got a family. Maybe he's got 3 kids in college. Maybe this is the best he can do right now. Maybe he's planning on a frame-off restoration. But right now, he just can't do it. I said, he drove it here. I said, so how bad can it be? And, of course, the two of them don't know what to say. Now, they don't know I'm the owner of the car. But my point was, be careful what you say. You know, there's no need to do that. And I don't do it at model shows, you know. Like I said, me and Jason on the ride home, we might talk about a few things, or, you know, and it's not just negative, it's positive. You know, did you see that guy with that Nova? Oh my God, that thing was incredible, you know. But they're private conversations. I learned at model shows, if you don't like something, don't say nothing. And if you want to praise something, that's fine. But you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because that's pretty quick way to get people to get out of the hobby. And that's not what this hobby is all about.
No.
So yeah. If a guy, I had a guy at NNL that come up to me and ask me about my Nova, and the blue Nova I just showed you. And I'm showing it to the guy and everything. I'm talking to him. And I said, well, what'd you bring? He goes, oh, I built a Nova too. He brought it to me. It wasn't great, but I said, geez, you did a great job. That looks really good. I said, I like that color. I like the way you did this. Because you want to build that guy up, because you want him to come back to the shows. You want him to buy more kits. You know, you want him to enjoy the hobby, because it's just that as a hobby. And another thing, like on Facebook, I have 0 friends on Facebook. I do not want any friends on Facebook. I won't take any friends on Facebook, because Facebook is my getaway from life's bullshit. Between working 9.5-hour days, things at home and all that, all I do is follow model groups. And I come home and I sit on the couch and I got my iPad and I'm just looking at model cars. That's all I'm looking at.
Yeah.
My little brother, he convinced me when I first got on Facebook to follow him. I took a dump today at 2:00. I don't care. I don't need to know that. There's nothing.
What's your brother's name? I want to send him a friend request.
Yes. You know, it is. That's the stuff I don't want to see. I don't want to see a cat chasing a rabbit around the yard because it's funny.
Yeah.
I just want to see styrene. I want to see what somebody did with whatever kit they bought and what they did to it. That's it. Facebook is just my escape from reality.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, another thing, too, is I never offer advice without being asked.
Amen.
Never. Right. There's no need to do it. And that's the same, and for the same reason, I don't do build videos. Like, people always ask me, well, why don't you show me your process? Well, because I'm not good enough to show you my process. Okay, so, trust me.
I preface my build videos with the advice that if you see my results as acceptable, this is how I did it.
Yeah.
So if you don't watch.
Right.
You know, that's you have to, if you're gonna offer advice, they should know what they're getting at the end of that advice. They should be able to see it and go, yeah, maybe not. You know,
yeah.
I offer them that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, last week we talked about paint finishes and stuff like that, and I'll tell anybody that asks me what I do. Yep. Now, this is what works for me. It might not work for you. You might not like it. You might want to try something else. There's no right way and no wrong way. There's the way that works best, that gives you the results that you're happy with. And that's all that matters. I showed Jason how I paint. He's tweaked it the way he does things that suit him better. And that's great. But the way Frank does it, the way Mike does it, and Jason and Tim, it could all be different, but could all have similar results. There's no right or wrong. and I will tell you exactly how I do anything, but doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Don't ever. And the best piece of advice I can ever give you is don't ever paint your cars the way I do. I still use golf balls, but still golf balls.
Yeah. Well, that's, and I keep telling you, that's not the way you paint. That's your process.
Yeah, it's my process.
So, but it's okay. Doesn't matter, right?
We still love you, Mike.
Yeah, I'm getting better. That's the part that I like.
Well, that's all that matters.
And that's all that matters. And if you're enjoying yourself,
exactly.
Every now and then I'll build one, right out of the box, no extra details, paint details. And I want to build the best model that I built when I was 14 years old. And I do it just for that exercise.
Yeah.
And every now and then they come out great. And some of them, they didn't, you know? As long as if you're having fun and you're accomplishing what you want to accomplish, then that's all that matters. Because the people, the opposite, the other side of that coin is the people, like if you say that you have a problem with something, the worst answer that you can hear is, well, I never had a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
That person is never going to show you because they don't build models.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
You go on these Facebook groups and the guys that say, oh, I never had a problem. Go because I do this. I need to see your resume, your body of work in whether or not in this specific instance, whether I'm going to take you seriously as a modeler. I'll look at
phone call.
Sorry about that.
No,
somebody's looking for my phone. They thought that was funny. Might be my daughter. I'm going to look at your profile. I'm going to see what you've contributed to the group, whatever it is. If you've never posted one of your builds, I just completely ignore you.
Yeah.
Like what you say doesn't make any sway in my
There's a
life,
I was telling Jason there's a group on Facebook and it's one of the biggest ones. And I stopped following the group. I left the group. I just get tired of it's like guys sit in front of their keyboard waiting for somebody to say a certain thing and they get a whole thing all printed out there. They're just going to type in. Mm-hmm. And it's all negative.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. It's like I said earlier. If you don't like something, don't say anything. Keep it to yourself unless you got something good to say. Because if you don't have something good to say, you're not helping the hobby. You're not helping that person. No. You're discouraging somebody from doing a hobby they like. And in the end of the day, yesterday I came in my hobby room. I came in here at noontime. I went to bed at midnight. And the whole thing was all those hours I was in here, it was just me. I just sat here and did my thing and enjoyed myself all that time. So at the end of the day, we go to shows and we show friends, models to our friends and stuff. But it's just me. And I have to be happy with what I'm doing. Yeah. And if I'm enjoying all that time I spent yesterday, well, then that's what it's all about.
What's funny is this is supposed to be build time. Every time I've been on this show, have you ever seen me building anything?
No,
I can't build if I have to talk. It's because in order for me to build, I have to be inside my head.
Well,
even though like I can listen, if I was building, I would just be listening to you.
Well,
I wouldn't say anything.
I got two 56 Chevy chassis done while we were sitting here.
Well,
look at you.
And I got this done. Well, I didn't get this done, but this is how far I made it on this.
Yeah,
that's got tires on it, huh?
I got the
exhaust and tires and drive shafts. It's actually got drive shafts, and they go where they're supposed to, which is weird.
And
whatever progress I had on my USAC dot coming into this morning, my wife rekitted the model for me because she dropped it. Thing it was on.
Oops.
That was nice of her. She thought
she got away with it because she's cute and you love her, so that's okay.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing what she can get away with.
Yeah.
And she was more upset because I didn't react at all.
Yeah.
There was I was sitting right next to where I didn't react at all. And then she later on she texted me, Are you okay? I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, this is
Everything's
how I
fine.
look at that. I
I'll
listen
be
to
okay. I'm okay.
I listen to a lot of things of guys complain about at shows that the judges pick up their models. And I'm okay with it. You like to think that you're with other model guys. And if you need to pick it up to look at something, so be it. And if there as much time and effort as you put into something, it's a model car. And if it drops and shatters, you just build another one. Ask Chuck from Chuck's Hobby Spot. He built a GTO three times.
Yeah.
So something happens to it, yeah, you get bummed out about it, but it's all right. I'll just buy another kit and I'll do it all over again. I had a shelf fall and I lost 18 or 17 models to the point where they couldn't be fixed.
Right.
Oh, well, I'll build more. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Did you guys listen? Did you guys listen to the podcast? The one that just dropped last week.
Yeah.
With Art Lasky.
Yeah.
Did you hear the story he told about? So that he walked by a table that they were judging at, and one of the judges had his model in his hands, and he's got it like this. Now, this is a judge. Judge is looking at it and goes, "There isn't even an engine in this. This is a curbside. Why is this even in this class?" And the other judge said something, and the judge goes, "Not in my top 5."
Imagine that.
That actually happened. That was a judge and it's like, that's why sometimes when people pick up my models, I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like it should be. You should be if you're going to a show, you should have the option. Check the box. Is it okay for them to pick it up?
Yeah.
If it's not okay, and so at least you know that that's what's going to happen. It's like I was at JacksCon, and there is no box to check, and it's not standard for that show for them to pick it up. It's judged based on what you display. If you have a beautiful undercarriage, you need to put it in such a way that you can see that beautiful undercarriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike thinks my undercarriage is beautiful.
You do have a beautiful undercarriage, Tim. You really do. But so I'm standing there with one of the head judges, and he's a good friend of mine, and they're picking up cars. And they're looking at him. I'm like, "Is that standard?" He's like, it's the rules say you can, but we try not to." I said, "Well, I want you to do me a favor before he gets to the other side of the table where my 4 cars are. Tell him that if he picks up one of those 4, when he wakes up, he'll be over there in the corner bleeding."
Well, so at our club show, we judge on a point system. So if you want to be able, if you're there to just display your model and hang out and have a good time, you can write, "Do not pick up," right? And the judges will see that and not pick it up. Now, the other side to that coin is if you're there to compete. Hey, Nate Bemis is in the chat. What's up, Nate?
Yeah, he's the one who said he'd never seen me without my hat.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. Never mind. Carry on, Nate. Anyway, the downside to that is they're not going to judge. They're not going to give you points for whatever work you've done under the car.
But you know that as an entrant, you know that going in.
You do. And as a judge, I've judged very reluctantly at our show. I don't like to judge, but I had to. I take great care when I pick up a model and look underneath it. I mean, great care. I've been at shows where they've had to shuffle categories, and there's guys people like, "Oh no, we're gonna move this category down," and they're like grabbing models and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I ran. I think it was Tim. I ran to get him and "Dude, you need to come with me now. They're moving models and they're almost to yours."
Yeah, I remember that. That was at PatCon.
It's like, holy cow, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I built this Spitfire plane once, and the local, I believe in lieu of the local show, the host club sponsored an IPMS regional. And then the following 2 weeks later, the way it usually goes is the local show is Replicon. And then a few weeks later is MosquitoCon in New Jersey. I believe it was a regional, and I saw a judge pick the Spitfire up by the cowl, and put it down. And what am I going to do? It's done is done. He did it before I could say not to. But what pissed me off was that at the Mosquito Con, the judge called me over and he goes, You were solid second. You had solid second place. He goes, but you got a thumbprint in your weathering. Because I used still weathering. It was that judge's thumbprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it cost me a second place. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the guy didn't do it on purpose to break the model, but he should have. If you're going to touch my stuff, I want to be there. Or, worst case scenario, come get me. I'll move it because I know where to touch it. I know where to pick it up.
Yeah,
so
that's what Lawless. That's what Jeff Lawless was just saying at the show that he judges. He'll have the builder move it, which makes 100% sense.
Yeah,
come get me.
Well, what makes our show different is we judge like a 1-to-1 car show. So it's 100-point system, and you get so many points for each thing. You get, say, 10. I forget off the top of my head, but chassis details 10 points, interior details 20 points, finish is 20 points. So at the end, closest to the 100 is going to be the first place, second place, blah blah blah. That's why we pick up the models at our show, but it's known that we pick up the models at the show.
That's the thing.
So it's just part of our judging process. And I tell Jason this all the time, there's nothing more disheartening than when you go to a model show and at 11 o'clock you hear, we're looking for judges. That makes me
I didn't come here to work.
And go home.
Yeah.
Because you got some guy that has never built a model in his life, has no idea what he's looking at. Now he's going to judge my model. That bothers me. With our show at Classic Plastic, we start planning in January, and we go all the way. Our show's not until the end of October. And every meeting, we talk about how we're going to do this. Is the hall all set? Do we have the tables? Do we have the leg extensions so the tables are high? Do we have the paper runners? Okay, who are the judging teams? So all the judges from at our show are our club members that are model builders that know what they're doing, that know how to pick up a model. So I feel confident, at least my show, that mine are getting judged by guys that know what they're looking at because they're all builders and they're all fellow club members and they're model builders, so they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. When you go to a show and you hear them say, we need judges, it just kills me.
Yeah.
I recently. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
So I recently attended a show where the factory stock category was won by a mid-60s. I think it was a Oldsmobile or a Buick with yellow spark plug wires and torque thrusts lowered. Replicas. Mm-hmm. Beautiful build. Excellently built, near perfect execution, but factory stock.
Yeah,
right there with you, Frank. I built a factory stock Impala. I think you remember the Revell Impala. I did that thing as stock as could be, and I brought it to a show, and in factory stock. And I'm not complaining that I didn't win an award, but what I am complaining about is the car that took first place in that class was a 53 Ford that was flat black, had side pipes and Kragers on it. I'm like,
I guarantee you that was an IPMS judge.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
IPMS judge, because an IPMS judge is going to judge based upon the construction criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're going to look for tide marks in washes. They're going to look for alignment. They're going to look for removal of parting lines, no visible seams, that kind of stuff. To them, finish is almost immaterial. If you go to the IPMS Nationals, I've heard it discussed where people were going to try to enter a model that wasn't even painted to see how it would do. How many model show judges are shifty modelers? Just curious.
What do you think the percentages for something like that would be, guys? We'll do a round table.
I couldn't even answer that, to be honest with you.
I've seen judges I've seen people who judge. I've never seen their work.
Yeah. Well,
it's not uncommon.
Some of the shows around here that are IPMS shows, we've been going to them long enough that we know most of the people. And the problem is our show, Classic Plastic, is the only all-car show in the area.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to bring a military model, we have a class for it, but we usually get 5 or 6. But it's 29 classes of automotive. So it's just all automotive stuff. So, and like I said, our club members that do the judging, they know about cars, they build them, and they're all good builders. So they know what they're looking for. IPMS shows, I find, IPMS I don't think wants cars to begin with. I think they just do it because they have to. You go to any IPMS show, there's 5 classes, and they're as vague as the day is long. And they have people looking at them that don't know what they're looking at. I had an F1 car disqualified because the wheels were turned, and the guy said the steering wheel was straight. Okay. Well, how do you know?
I've heard that story.
How do you know the wheels aren't locked to lock?
Yeah.
When you go lock to lock, the steering wheel's straight, but the wheels are turned.
Yeah.
So he disqualified it, not knowing that information.
Not knowing anybody, yeah.
Because he's not.
In my case, the local IPMS chapter, the president of the chapter is a car guy. He builds model car, and he's rather good at it too.
Yeah.
My local IPMS chapter, I am very confident in their judging because they do tend to be subject matter experts.
Yeah.
And you rarely have a situation where, all right, you have to recuse yourself because you're in that category.
Yeah.
Like that happens. It just doesn't happen very often. There are some cases where like a guy might be old enough where his hands shake, was a world-class modeler. He could still judge.
Yeah.
He knows, if he sees well enough, he knows something's good.
Right. We got two IPMS clubs near us. In each one of those clubs, they have members of that whatever club it is that are members of our club because they're car guys too. So they come to see what the car guys do and all that stuff. And one of the things, Granite State Modelers, the president, this guy Mac Johnson, super guy, he builds cars as well. And he's always trying to help the car guys. Every year, he tries to do something to help the car guys out so the classes are better. This year, he said, IPMS told me I couldn't, but I'm adding a day 2 class. He said, because we need it. We get too many cars that are in between. And he's a car guy, so he knows what he's looking at and stuff. So not all judges are horrible and not all clubs and IPMS and that are horrible. The thing to show for me is you go to the show, I get to hang out with Jason and a bunch of other guys from the club, and we make a day of it. And if you get an award, great. If you don't, oh well. Usually you get some good deals on some kits or something you're looking for. That's the best part of the show. So I take all those shows with a grain of salt. Not all judges are terrible either.
My friend was because I used to be a member of Suffolk IPMS, but the president, he retired and moved down south. The club kind of folded, but he was usually the chief judge for Replicon, the Long Island Scale Modeling Society, and he made it a point. He goes, "We want to make car modelers feel welcome." Because he would go out of his way to make car modelers feel. He goes, and his exact words, "Well, we need them."
Yeah. The last 2 IPMS shows I've been to, the biggest class at the show was the cars.
Yeah.
Biggest number, I should say, not class. Biggest number of models. It's like we're here. We're coming to your shows.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of respect, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that in my small experience, I think that they're trying to change.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to be better at it because they are seeing the numbers. And as modelers, as car modelers, we show up in numbers. We really do.
Yeah.
There's a fundamental difference, though, between car modelers and, say, aircraft modelers, because in the aircraft modeling community, speculative or what if isn't as welcome. Like most of what we do is speculative, unless we're building a documented replica of a particular car.
Right.
Pretty much everything we do is speculative.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
even a factory stock could be speculative in the color choices, and the engine options and stuff like that. When you're building an F-16 from this fighter wing based at this Air Force base at this time,
it has to be.
It has to be.
It's funny. It's with military models, whether it's armor or aircraft, boats, whatever. When I go to the IPMS shows, I look at every model there, and some of that stuff I'm in awe of how they do it, and I think it's beautiful. Not something I want to do, but it doesn't mean I can't appreciate the work that's gone into it and the talent that it takes to do it. Yeah. I just don't want to do that. Yeah. Because I can't paint a tank petty blue and put a 43 on the side of it.
That's it.
The nice thing about the cars things, it's all your imagination. That police car I just built, they never made one of them. Well, that I know of. But
did you see the pictures from the Vermont show, Tim?
No.
There was a freaking Sherman tank there painted petty blue with a 43 on the side of it.
Was it really? Well, see, that's the thing with military stuff in planes. There's not room. I don't want to say for imagination, but there's no interpretation of how you'd want it to be.
Yeah.
Where with automotive, you can. What I love about automotive, the four of us can buy the same exact kit and have 4 completely different builds when we're done, because it's your imagination. It's what you think it should look like. It's what you'd like it to be. That's what I enjoy about the cars, the car stuff of it. But it doesn't mean I don't appreciate anything else. I mean, you look at some of the vignettes and some of those dioramas they do with the military stuff. It's just absolutely crazy. So, I appreciate it all. And, going back to the judges, they have a tough job. There's no doubt about it. I've been asked to judge at IPMS shows, and I say, listen, I don't know a lot about it. And, I got stuff in automotive classes, and they'll have me do, work with 2 other guys in armor or something. And I learned a lot doing it, but I don't want to judge my own stuff, so I don't like judging anybody else's. You know,
Mike, what the heck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm pushing all kinds of buttons. I thought I was sending a text. I don't know what the hell I did. Hang on, let me put it back. There you go. I got to get back. Now I got to get back. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to make
what is happening?
Yeah.
There we go.
We're back to Hollywood Squares.
He was taking his pants off.
Yeah. I was trying to. I'm just going to go ahead and answer it. Boston Buds asked about. You heard my car broke down. I was trying to text that, but I didn't click the post a comment box before I started typing, and apparently I just screwed everything up. But
it went from a Jeep to a heap as soon as it stopped moving.
Right.
So real quick before we get off here, I don't want to interrupt anybody, but somebody asked a question. I'm looking for it. I'm going back. I don't see where it went. Dang it. So Brad asked if any of us have used Tropical Glitz spray bombs.
Not their spray bombs, but I have used their paint, and I absolutely love it. In fact, I can show you that yellow right there is Tropical Glitz paint.
Yeah.
I'm a huge, you guys know that I'm a huge scale finishes guy. Mr. Jameson creates an awesome product, but the Tropical Glitz, especially for your metal flakes and, your real like hot rod type colors or maybe the low rider type colors.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I love it.
I do know that they do sell spray cans, but
I haven't used the spray cans though.
I haven't had the occasion to use one either. So
I would be careful.
I haven't used them. I don't do anything in spray can anymore.
I would be careful with the spray cans because I think you're going to run into something similar as you do with the hardware store or the big cans. I don't know it to be a fact, but I'm going to guess that the nozzle's probably made for automotive. So therefore is going to be a bigger nozzle to allow more coverage on a 1-to-1 car. Again, I don't know that to be a fact, but I do know that the ready to spray 4-ounce bottles that you get is designed to go through your airbrush. So and it is ready to go. You don't have to mess it. You don't have to mix with it. Everybody likes a different texture with their airbrush paint, so you can alter it, but you don't have to, all based on what you want to do.
Fair enough.
I think there was somebody from Tropical Glitz there yesterday at NNL East. I don't think they was vending, but I saw a guy walking around with a jacket that said Tropical Glitz on it.
They have a lot of ambassador type people. The guy that comes up here and pinstriped, we call them tattoos on my girl's motorcycle. He did all the freehand pinstriping, and he's a ambassador to Tropical Glitz paint. So that's
okay. So Tropical Glitz, you paint 1-to-1 stuff with it as well. See, I didn't know that. I thought it was just model paint.
Yeah,
I'm the Blue Ox Model Shop ambassador to Ireland.
that's
I have diplomatic immunity in Ireland.
That's awesome.
Jason. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can commit crimes in Ireland, and because of Jason's power, they can't touch me.
Wow, very, very impressive.
Exactly.
I hold the same title. I hold the same title in Poland.
Yeah. Again,
Really?
Where?
I can see all the chicks digging in the men's video. I can see it.
I do.
Wow. Who knew I was so globally effective?
See?
I was trying to be the ambassador for Djibouti, but he offered me Ireland. So
Well, you know what? It's good. I got family in Ireland, so that works. Somebody just asked what the brand of my magnifiers were. Good question. Amazon cheapies, I guess. That's where I got them.
That's what mine are too. Same thing.
like why or something like that.
I see there's an emblem.
What am I?
And I bet you I couldn't pronounce it.
Well, Mike, make my screen big and I'll hold mine up because you can see what it says.
Yeah, that's exactly the same pair I have.
Yeah.
Yakto Sun.
Yeah.
Yakto Sun.
Yeah.
Now, you guys like the ones with the nose piece? Because I have the one. Hang on just a second. I have the one that's the headband, right? So I've got glasses.
Here's the thing. I got hair. So the one with the headband thing slides.
Yeah.
The nose piece holds it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how that would work with another pair of glasses, though. I don't know. That's what I was concerned about because I'm due another optivisor because of the band, the little sweat band that goes in here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sweat like bad, and the sweatband just disintegrated. I was going to say something horrible about how I sweat, but I realized where I was, so I backed up.
Thank you.
Hey, Leon. But yeah, so I was wondering about those nose piece ones, but I wear glasses too, and when I roll this down, it works. So I think I'll probably.
Well, I bet I could. Hold on, I got a pair of sunglasses here. That's the same thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you put these.
How come
on.
you guys? How come the three of you guys keep freezing up?
Somebody's internet, probably yours.
Yeah, it's got to be yours because nobody's been freezing up for me.
Yeah. Mine don't freeze up, but y'all three do.
Oh, look at that.
You can really look at there. Yeah, look at that.
So that's two pairs of glasses.
Yeah.
I may have to check that out.
So when I go really blind, I'll be able to do that.
You just forgot to say I'll be back when you put those on.
I'll be back.
Right?
Those glasses look like they magnify so much you could see tomorrow's model.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
You're modeling in the future.
Right? He's modeling. He's going to have. That's how he gets his group builds done so fast. Dang it! I wonder how it was.
No, I have employees. Ask him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He's got employees.
We talked about this last week, Frank, that all the YouTube guys, when they're doing their videos, not all of them, but a majority of them say, well, we went ahead and did this, and then we went ahead and did that. We painted it blue. We flocked the floor. So I text Jason. He did that. And I said to him, how many people you got working at Blue Ox Auto Shop? All these wees. Who are these guys?
Wait, what do you got, a mouse in your pocket?
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, well, my answer to him was I have two employees. I have a redhead and a guy that always shows up in a tuxedo. He's always overdressed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they get into everything.
They do. So before we got on to this thing tonight, I had opened the door and Jonesy had come in. And he hopped up on the white counter behind me and wasn't trying, but he succeeded. He walked to the end of it, turned around, wiped all of the stuff off the paint stand with his tail onto the floor, then walked back to the other side and laid down on a thing of papers and pushed them all onto the floor.
Yeah.
And then laid there. And I'm like, you've been here 43 seconds. And the place is a disaster.
Well,
I'm glad I'm allergic sometimes.
Yeah, I told you, this is how we know the world is round. Because it was flat, cats would have pushed everything off already.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, I don't mean to cut it short, but we are just a little bit over our 2-hour mark. What a great show today. So we want to be conscious of everybody's time. I know some of the chat's still rolling good, but I know we all have things to do, and I've been gone all weekend, so I know I got some honeydews I need to knock out, and I hadn't even unloaded my truck yet, so I need to get to that. But we can go ahead and do our sign-offs. Mr. Frank, would you like to go first? You got anything you want to plug, anything you want to talk about?
Yes. If you would be so kind, please make sure that you are subscribed to Billy Strange. He has relaunched.
Yes.
Make sure.
Yes.
Make doubly sure. Make triply sure. If you can, give me a like and subscribe and share and tell all your family about me.
And
how
where can they find
wonderful
you?
I am. And stay out of jail.
That's it. Where
Solid advice.
Frank, the thing about you, Frank, I'm happy they finally got you to stop licking the camera lens while you film it.
And
I'm doing something. I don't want to get Jason mad. We've been very good with the language this time.
Yes, we have.
Been very good with the language.
And where is it they can find you, Frank?
Frank's Model Works everywhere.
That's it. All right.
On the Facebook, on the YouTubes, and the Instagrams.
Got them all, right? So, Mr. Ryan, you said you didn't have any place that they could follow you, but apparently you neglected something.
Because I forgot all about the Pinterest stuff, because there's no communication there. You just you're like a voyeur. You just kind of watch.
Right.
So, there's no comments done. You just post a picture. So I forgot all about it. But I am on Instagram. Frank, I see you. I am on Instagram, and I changed my Instagram. I changed my Instagram the other night. My wife did it for me. God bless her. It's Tim's _ model shop. So if you want to find me on Instagram, I post whatever I'm building or whatever I've built on there. And on Facebook, I'm on a bunch of groups, so you've probably seen some of my stuff. If you want to check out our club, it is Classic Plastic Model. Classic Plastic. My brain just shut off. ClassicPlasticModelClub.org.
Thank you. I was giving you the chance.
Yeah. My brain stopped for a minute.
That's
it.
Your Instagram is private, by the way.
Yeah.
Your Instagram's private?
No.
Is
it?
I had to request it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or unless you have me blocked.
No, I didn't have to block. Yeah. Listen, when it comes to technology, yeah.
Yeah.
Tim is blocked. When it comes to technology, Tim is blocked.
Yeah, I got the IQ of a tennis ball, and most days the person I have a pocket meter violated. So, this is what you get.
That's it.
Oh, goodness.
All right, Mr. Hanscom, that leaves you up next.
All right. So, Blue Ox Model Shop everywhere. Not on Pinterest, though, but I'm going to change that. So,
nice.
Look for me there as well. I do this podcast thing with 3 of my buddies, the Scale Model Car Podcast. New episodes drop every other weekend-ish. Depends on the guy that's dropping the episodes and how productive he seems to feel that week. But check me out there. And don't forget to come back here next Sunday.
Amen.
Amen.
Same here, guys. Scale Model Outlaw on the YouTube. So I don't have nothing on Instagram, but keep an eye out on the Pinterest because you might find me there soon. Thanks to Mr. Ryan. Big shout out to again for Jason's group, the Scale Model Car Podcast. Our friend Justin is not here. We hope that he will be here next week, but you can find him at the Model Insanity Podcast. Great guys over there. Be sure and give those guys, they've got a YouTube channel. And Jason, you guys have a YouTube channel as well?
We do. We have a couple of YouTube channels, actually. We have one that we drop current episodes on, and we have I feel funny saying it. We have the Scale Model Car Podcast Classics channel.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool.
Are those in black and white?
Yeah, they are.
One of them is
they're silent.
Yeah, they're just silent. Yeah,
which makes for a boring podcast.
The second one's a talkie though, because the first one's a silent film, but the second one's a talkie because that's the one Jason showed up in.
Yeah.
Right. Oh gosh! Let's not forget that Justin Ryan has a Facebook page too. Ryan's Random Model Works, I think, is what it is. Look for that too.
Yeah, be sure and check him out. And of course, you can find me Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over there at the AMC Livecast. We'd love to see you guys there. Just want to tip my hat to the chat. We're rolling pretty good tonight. Lots of comments, great questions in there.
Yes.
I think at one point we were up to 67, 68 folks. So that's awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. And be sure and tune in next week. Same time, same channel. Mr. Frank, thank you for showing up and filling in for us.
Thanks, Frank.
We appreciate you, buddy. Y'all be good or be good at it. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. See you, everybody.
Peace out.
See ya.
Take care.
Bye.